Now, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Republicans to do right now when they control the White House, the Senate, and the House is effectively what the Democrats could not do when they controlled all three of those heads of government themselves. The 10-year setup for this, for these, or the 3-year setup for the expiration of these credits was intentionally put in. It was put in when you controlled the White House, the House, and the Senate. You couldn't get it passed for longer. And so this is a setup that kind of your own creation that you all couldn't extend beyond that. Now you want the Republicans to do something you didn't do when you were in power?
It's not a setup beyond what we could do. We extended the Affordable Care Act tax credits in 2022 for 3 years. The program is working. It's providing health care to tens of millions of people in an affordable way, and it should be continued. It's interesting to us that Republicans decided that they would prefer to permanently extend massive tax breaks for their billionaire donors in their one big ugly bill.
So it is the Martha Zoller Show, and that was Hakeem Jeffries, who is the minority leader. Joni Alpert is back. Hey, Joni, how are you?
Good morning, Martha. I am wonderful. How are you?
Good. So you didn't go to New York this time, right? You're going for Thanksgiving.
I'm going for Thanksgiving.
So there was this huge rally last night for Zoran Mamdani, and of course, all the usual suspects were there. It's going to be interesting to see because it looks like Eric Johnson, not Johnson. Adams, sorry. Eric Adams has put his support behind Andrew Cuomo. Curtis Lewa is not getting out of the race. Everybody thinks, it's a 95% chance that Zoran Mamdani is going to be the next mayor of New York. It's going to be an interesting time over the next couple of weeks. Early voting has started in New York.
Personally, I think it's I think it should be. It's a done deal. I think Mamdani, unfortunately, will get in, and it's really a shame. The big mo is for him, and I think he's going to get in, and I have to move forward with that. That being said, I'm going to New York for 2 weeks, and everything will be free.
Yeah, not immediately. You won't have been sworn in yet.
Yeah, but even if I get on the bus for free or do anything, no one's
crazy.
Coming after me.
It's so crazy because look, I'm torn about it, honestly. I've accepted.
Why?
I'm torn because, on the one hand, I would like to have people, see what it would be like to have him.
Agreed.
Okay? And on the other hand, I hate to see a city that I love go through that.
Well, but we did have a communist, and that was de Blasio. And because of de Blasio, I had moved back to New York for several years because my kids live there, and my husband and I left because it was lawless. He stole from the city. His wife stole $1 billion for Thrive, a mental health program. So I've already seen what politics could do to a city. So I'm sorry that New Yorkers have to have this lesson. But I think it was Ed Koch who said they voted and now they must be punished.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. So we're going to watch all of that. That's happening. We still have the shutdown going on. And honestly, you're seeing here now MSNBC, CNN, Jon Stewart, the ladies on The View trying to hold these Democrats accountable and pointing out the things they're responsible for. I mean, kind of like making the same points Republicans are making, yet they're not moving. And I talked to somebody very close to the top of this over the weekend, and they see there's no off-ramp right now for Democrats. I mean, they have dug themselves in so deep. Now, our senators, I want to tell you 2 tasks y'all need to do today. Our senators did vote to invoke cloture, which is in the filibuster, and go on to the vote on Friday related to paying federal workers, okay? They did vote the right way on Friday, but then ultimately there weren't enough votes. You have to have 60 votes to move it to the final vote, okay? So they did the right thing, but I'm still saying to folks, you need to call your 2 senators, call their Atlanta office, tell them that you want them to vote to invoke cloture, and then you want them, they don't even have to vote to open the government back on if they open if they want to, because there's enough votes to open the government. There's just not enough votes for cloture, which is the filibuster, which protects the minority view. That's the only leverage of power that they have. That's number one. Then I want you to take a look at your friends and neighbors that live in Michigan, in Nevada, in New Jersey, in Pennsylvania, and in other places around. There's one more, Wisconsin is the other state. They all have Democratic senators that are running for re-election next year that Trump won that state. Don't you call, because it will just go in the circular file. They don't care if a person from Georgia calls to disagree with them. If you have friends and neighbors and people that you know that live in those states, you tell them to call. And you call their home office. And what I mean by that is whatever office is in their capital. Because the people in D.C. don't care. All right? If their guy gets voted out, they're just going to get a job in another office. Okay? Because it's like a magical mystery tour up there of people moving around from office to office. But the local people do care. They were their babysitter. They were somebody who walked neighborhoods for them. They were maybe their 7th grade teacher. I mean, they have these personal connections to the guy that's in office. And so they're going to pay attention when people call to criticize. So that's what you need to do there. And then finally, early voting started 2 weeks ago. The last final days of early voting for this election, the municipal election that's going on, is today through Friday. We're starting to turn the tide. The problem is we've got 2 Public Service Commission seats up for this one, which is a statewide vote. So even if you don't have a mayor to vote for, even if you don't have a city council to vote for, you need to go in and vote, because the Democrat counties are getting out, and we cannot allow these 2 seats to go to Democrats because they will stop all the good things that have happened in the PSC.
Martha, I have to ask you just a simple question because you're the political genius. What is the end game of the Democrats trying to shutting down the government?
Well, I think the end game is in the past, prior to or post Graham Rudman, which was passed in the 90s, that is what created the government shutdown like we see it today as a political tool.
Right.
Okay, prior to that, if you had a government shutdown, the idea was, you'll get it worked out, so we'll just automatically fund the government at current levels, which is what the Republicans are trying to do. Historically, Republicans have been blamed for government shutdowns. Okay, the Democrats are counting on that they will be blamed for this one. And so the polling shows that people are not blaming Donald Trump for this shutdown. Okay, that's what the polling shows. In the last shutdown that we had under Donald Trump, 13% of the people believed he was responsible, and now only 1%. So it's a better situation as far as that goes. So I don't think there's an end game, and they keep saying they're maybe going to go till. It's going to take some people blinking, and what's going to happen this week is the president is going to go around Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, and he is going to start talking to these senators we're talking about. And I'll get you all the list of names for the next segment so that you can know who we're talking about here. But these senators, he's going to go to them directly. And then once we get to 59, Rand Paul may come back over because he's voted against this every single time, too, because he's a purist in how he votes. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So we may be here for a while.
Well, you know who my hero is now? The brilliant John Fetterman.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's the best. What happened to him?
Yeah, I mean, he puts America first. That's what he did. I mean, I disagree with him on almost every issue except for Israel and the fact he will work with Donald Trump. And he's doing the right thing. But his other senator is a Republican, and that's fine. And he's voting the right way. Dave McCormick, he's brand new. He replaced Bob Casey. And so we'll keep working on all of this. So we're going to go to the phones now at 770-535-2911 on this rainy day in Georgia. Let's go to Chad in Oakwood. Hey, Chad, how you doing?
Good morning. How y'all doing today?
We're good, thank you.
Great.
I just want to say this. God bless everybody. And everybody lean on somebody because everybody needs somebody. And we better not elect communists to run our country. Because if you research history, they kill millions and millions and millions of people. They don't care about us. They don't care about our country. You can research the history.
No, you're right. You're right. More people have died under communist regimes than in any other time in the history. And I don't understand this new love of communism and this real challenge that we've got where young people in a lot of ways are not getting, the best education. And I tell you, it all started when they lumped everything together as social studies, when they stopped teaching geography separate from history in elementary school. And then, because you can get it in high school, but it's more difficult in elementary school. Thanks for your call today, Chad. And let's go to the phones now and talk to Joe in Ellijay. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Martha, great. I was at the Tech football game Saturday. Both Tech and Georgia in the top 10 for the first time in many, many years. And both of them have great teams, great coaches, so forth. But it's amazing to me. I called Steve Moore today. The stock market continues. It's going to open for the first time in history at over 47,000 today. I mean, anybody that's got an IRA or any investments in stocks is just doing incredible, and I think it's going to keep up because Trump is the best leader in history. He's got the best cabinet in history, and they're all in business people with a business background. So I think happy days, we're in investor heaven. Happy days are here, and I think they'll continue. Well, hopefully we'll have after Trump, we'll have Vance. So I think happy days will continue for the rest of my life. So let's celebrate.
Absolutely, Joe. Thanks for your call today, and go Georgia Tech. That's really hard for me to say, but that's all right. I'll do it. Go Dogs. We'll be back.
Fuel our discussions with your opinions.
We need to talk about common sense here.
We're the station that gives you a voice.
It's my local station.
We're North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service, but did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen at a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their customer assurance maintenance plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
This fall, give your lawn and food plots the winning edge with Limelight Pro. Now at Farmers Exchange in Cleveland. Limelight Pro is a premium, fast-acting pelletized lime that helps balance soil pH, unlock nutrients, and boost plant growth. Easy to spread, quick to work, and perfect for a fall application. Whether growing grass, gardens, or game plots, get the results you want with Limelight Pro. Farmers Exchange, your hometown partner for a stronger, greener season.
While technology has certainly changed the way people do business, it hasn't changed the way we treat our customers. It's Mike Cormier, and at Hardy Chevrolet, we are as committed to excellent customer service as the Hardys were when they started the business here in Gainesville over 4 decades ago. When it's time for a new or used vehicle, remember what Charles Hardy always said.
We love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
This month, Pure Talk is supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat vets struggling with PTSD. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. Sure, I like the unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and you will too. But you will love being in business with a company that shares your values. Dial pound 250, say Micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Oh, let's go.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, GBI officials working with law enforcement throughout Hall County on a death investigation case from Sunday. Details at Access WDUN. And coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Okay, it doesn't seem like we're getting too specific here. I feel like there's some elephants in this room. that we're not identifying that reason why Democrats have not done well in recent elections. I mean, first of all, you have to go through a primary gauntlet, don't you, in the Democratic Party?
We like to have spirited primaries. I'd like to think that when democracy works well, you have that.
Well, we didn't have any for Kamala.
No.
Okay. Just throwing that out there.
That is true.
That's true. Should we have?
With that time period, I think it would have been challenging. But what you saw very quickly was all the former presidents line up behind the vice president, and she worked hard. Now, if she had more time, if the Democratic Party had more time, maybe things would have been different. But we did the best with what we had. Certainly wish we'd have gotten that over the finish line.
Well, it all came out for the best.
So it is the Martha Zoller Show. That's Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky. He's one of the people they're talking about to run for president next time for the Democrats. It's an interesting situation because he can veto everything and be progressive in a very conservative state because they only have a 50+1 override of the veto in Kentucky. So everything he vetoes, they override it. So he can say to the progressive side, I tried, and then the Kentucky state will be fine. And he's like a political dynasty in Kentucky. But what's interesting, and full disclosure, my daughter-in-law is the chef at the governor's mansion in Kentucky. So I've met the Beshears, that I've done some things with them. I think he's too vanilla, Joni. I think that he's not a radical progressive. And I think this time they're going to try to nominate somebody like AOC for president. And I say bring it on.
Yeah, AOC is a real idiot.
Yeah.
Let me just say, and to be polite, ID10T problem, which spells idiot.
Yeah.
And every time she opens her mouth, I'm like, we need to give her more airtime.
Yeah, she was going crazy last night, and it'll be interesting to see. Now, you can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. And Rhett said the Democrats are going to drive this until the food banks run out of food. He may do that. The president has taken the tariff money and funded WIC, okay, and through the end of the month. It'll be interesting to see. He's got enough money he could do it for another month because clearly if people that are getting food stamps and assistance don't get that assistance, you're going to see that, and it's going to be painful because they're getting assistance because, they need it, okay, supposedly.
What's WIC?
WIC, women's, I said food stamps. I clarified. WIC is food stamps.
Okay.
Yeah. So women and infants and children is what that stands for. So that's what they're talking about with the food banks, okay? And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens as this plays out because the Democrats don't have an off-ramp right now. They have stuck their heels down in the ground, and they are not offering any opportunities. And the president has said, open up the government, and we'll start meeting tomorrow about the things because he's actually in favor of extending the subsidies. President Trump is. Okay, he's actually in favor of that. And what the subsidies are is that if you go on to the healthcare marketplace and you get an Obamacare policy, you can get some help with the cost of the premiums. But the problem with what they did before during COVID is it was already up all the way up the income level. So if you're making $600,000 a year, you're getting a subsidy. And I think that's not the right way to do it. Plus the fact, the little lie they tell you is a lot of those plans aren't accepted right here at Northeast Georgia Health Systems. A lot of these ACA plans are not accepted over there. So you think you've got coverage until you need to use it.
Right.
And that's a big, big, big problem. And also what they're doing is just trying to finance, and help these big insurance companies. And, I always love it when people talk about oil companies and, all the things there. Oil companies are in the middle of the pack as far as profit is concerned. The two things that are on the top of the pack are insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies.
Well, I think we're both aware of that because we were in medical practices.
Yeah.
Our husbands were physicians. And the saying, just say no to I'm kidding about that, but it's always just say no to this procedure. It's like you have to go through 9 steps to get an insurance company to approve it. And then you send in your insurance claim and they send it back and they say they want to see the records. They have made life miserable.
It's funny because Joni and I are old enough that we remember the old days when you paid for your healthcare services at the window, and then you took the receipt home and sat at your dining room table and matched it up with a form. Wait, let me finish. And then mailed it into your insurance company, and then you got paid back. See, what happened is you and I are paying the premiums.
Correct.
But the medical providers are getting paid. So there's this disconnect between who is paying the premiums and who's getting the money.
Absolutely. And
that's a problem.
Right. And the patients don't realize it. But I just want to say,
we're paying a high price for
We're paying a high
convenience.
price for convenience. But I just want to go back to your comment about we're women of a certain age. May I say that that's why I like radio? And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. I love my age. I'm 66 years old, and I am more than happy to be there.
You're never supposed to ask.
I don't mind
explain
telling.
what- I've been lying so long I forgot my birthday. So
I will tell you, though, I am actually the weight on my driver's license for the first time in 40 years. So that is a plus. I've been lying on my driver's license for what my weight is. Well, actually, I was that weight when I got my driver's license, but I've been lying about it for 40 years. I actually felt bad about it. I got my wallet stolen about 5 years ago, and I had to go in and replace it, and they wanted to take a new picture, and I had to fill out all this stuff again, and I really hesitated there, like, okay, I added 20 pounds, but it still was wrong.
Before you take a picture at the DMV, you have to go have your makeup done professionally because everybody is like, oh, let me see your driver's license picture. So you have to make sure it's a good one.
Oh, no, I never did that. I got caught in the rain, man. I looked really bad in my driver's license picture.
Let me see your picture. Let me see your license.
I don't have it with me. We'll be back on the Martha Zoller Show. Lots more to come.
Proverbs tells us, whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay them for his deed. This is Mike Martin. My Sister's Place is a shelter that provides a fresh start for homeless women and children. They offer a nurturing home, transportation assistance, nutritious meals, and other basic necessities to single women and mothers with children whom they serve. They also provide life skill workshops, case management, counseling, and other development tools to get them back on their feet. They rely on the support of their friends and neighbors to continue to help women and children in need. Learn more at my-sisters-place.org. Take care and God bless you.
This message brought to you by Milton Martin Toyota.
When you have a problem with your roof, you want someone who can respond quickly, but also who knows roofing. That's what you get at Georgia Select Roofing. This is Chris Earls, and we do roofing right. Estimates are free, we can help you navigate your insurance claim, and we also offer financing. Check out our Google reviews, and you'll see that Georgia Select Roofing offers the best service around. See us today at georgiaselectroofing.com or call us at 678-316-6899. Family owned and operated, Georgia Select Roofing has you covered.
Tune in to 2 hours of local football fun with the Pick'em Show, coach interviews, game previews, and general mayhem. So join Bo, Caleb, Jeff, and Walker Thursday nights at 6 on AM 550 and FM 102.9, or video stream them on YouTube at Access WDUN Sports. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 9:30.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. Big deals with President Trump in Asia. The U.S. and China have forged the framework for a trade deal to be signed with President Xi. Today, he's in Japan.
18,000 police officers have been activated, and they are fanned out across Tokyo to protect President Trump and his delegation while they move around Japan. He has already been greeted by the Japanese emperor as he preps for big meetings in South Korea, with China's Xi and maybe even Kim Jong-un.
Fox's Peter Ducey. Back home, government shutdown day 27. The Ag Department warns the well has run dry. SNAP benefits, food stamps will stop Saturday for 40 million people. Hurricane Melissa, now a Cat 5 storm bearing down on Jamaica. 160 mile-an-hour winds and 30 inches of rain. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and the GBI is working with agencies in Hall County behind a weekend death case. WDUN's Logan Landers with details.
GBI has confirmed with Atlanta media sources that they are assisting in a death investigation, but were unable to give more details. WSB-TV said neighbors confirmed police cars were outside a Couch Road home near Flowery Branch for hours on Sunday, while other sources said a vehicle was blocked off by several area law enforcement vehicles at the Sam's Club parking lot of Oakwood early Sunday afternoon, with no confirmation of any link between the two scenes as of last report.
A fire broke out Saturday evening at a business in Beaufort, destroying an office building along the 4500 block of Nelson Brogdon Boulevard. More from WDUN's Lawson Smith.
According to Gwinnett County Fire and Emergency Services, a 911 caller reported seeing smoke and flames at Benchmark Physical Therapy. Firefighters arrived at around 7:17 p.m. to find the two-story building engulfed in flames, with fire spreading throughout the roof and attic above the main level. One firefighter sustained minor injuries during the response and was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. Fire investigators determined that the blaze began in the attic space, though the exact cause remains under investigation.
And the Jackson EMC Foundation recently awarded nearly $100,000 in grant money during a recent meeting, including $40,000 to 6 organizations that serve Hall County. Details at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
North Georgia, it's a soaker. Scattered rain, locally heavy at times, and low 50s for highs later this afternoon. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Beaufort, 51 degrees, Clarksville, 48, and in Gainesville, 49. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
At Onward Reserve, their motto is live authentically. Every shirt, every store, every story is inspired by real moments. On the golf course, in the field, out on the lake, or gathering with friends after a long day. Discover clothing, footwear, accessories, and game day attire, all designed for making memories with the people and places you love. Visit Onward Reserve on the Gainesville Square next to WDUN. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 till 7, Sundays 12 till 5. Onward Reserve. Live authentically.
Whether it's a slip that ends in a slip disc, a trick knee that's holding you back, or shoulder pain hurting your game, you can count on Northside Hospital Orthopedics. With leading care in Georgia at convenient locations all across the state, we're here to get you back on your feet, no matter what comes your way. Because Georgia moves us, and we keep Georgia moving. Find a provider near you at northside.com/ortho. That's northside.com/ORTHO.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. I'm here with Joni Alpert today, and we're talking about all the news of the day. We will be having the data center person on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. They had a scheduling conflict this morning and asked for me to change, and of course I did do that. So they will be on Wednesday, and we'll talk more about data centers. Want to let you know that. Also, I want to get to you. I mentioned to you that you need to call these offices or call your friends that live in the states for these offices. And I want to tell you who those folks are. Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, you can take off because we already got Fetterman. We got both of those senators there. So Wisconsin is Senator Tammy Baldwin, okay? In Nevada, it's Senator Jackie Rosen. In Michigan, it's Senator Gary Peters. Of course, in Georgia, Senator Ossoff is up for re-election. And then in Arizona, it's not Gallegos, but the other senator, Mark Kelly in Arizona. So call those call your friends that are in those states, have them call the offices and tell folks what they need to do. They need to vote to open the government back up and to pass the CR. You know, the weird thing, Mike Collins was sitting right here, Joni, in this seat a couple of weeks ago, and he said, you know what the dirty little secret is? If we just kept passing CRs, which I don't support, and neither does he, we would have the budget balanced in 10 years if we just pass the spending as it is today. Rand Paul has a great plan that if you go back to 2019 spending, you adjust it for inflation, and then you get to that. We have a balanced budget. So there's a way to do it even with the mandatory spending. And a lot of people don't realize that 3/4 of the budget is mandatory spending. So it's not stopping. Okay, your Social Security checks, Social Security disability, pension for federal workers, interest on the debt, and Social Security disability. That's all on autopilot. Okay, so it goes whether you vote on it or not, which, we need to have a discussion about that too. So we've got a lot of things that are happening, and there's a lot of pieces that Trump is trying to make this not hurt, this shutdown not hurt, because he's moving money around. Money is still coming into the federal government every day. And the thing that I said to Senator Ossoff, Joni, was that you're actually giving Trump the power that you say you don't want him to have. Okay, because money comes into the government every day, and with a government shutdown, then, Trump gets to control where the money's spent.
No, I understand that. But for you and I, it could be extremely dangerous. You and I are taking flights in the next few months, and there's no money to pay air traffic controllers. So I don't know if my trip to New York is going to be on.
Yeah, I mean, they won't fly without air traffic controllers. If they don't come in, then the flights will be canceled, folks. I mean, and that's just the way it's got to be. So you're right about that. Now, Scott Bessent, my favorite cabinet member, he's boring. He's the Treasury Secretary. He just does his job, and he is like the quickest wit with no emotion that you'll ever hear. Here's Scott Bessent.
And today is day 26. I know you have been over there, but there has been a government shutdown here. People are suffering. Federal employees are starting to go to food banks. Any light at the end of the tunnel on that? Should the president be meeting with Democrats again?
Well, what good does it do, Martha? They've dug in. The American people are hostage to Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries' poll numbers, because what's changed between now and the last time there was a clean continuing resolution is Chuck Schumer has tanked in the polls. Both of the two guys from Brooklyn, like I call them, are worried about being primaried from the left. 52 Republican senators have voted 11 times to reopen the government. 3 brave, moderate Democrats have come across the aisle. So, I call on moderate Democratic senators to end this craziness. You'll be heroes. Because, Martha, what I can tell you is that we managed to find the money in the middle of October to pay our brave service members. And I think we'll be able to do it on November 1st. But we're going to be out of money on November 15th. And, for a military not to get paid is a disgrace. The other thing that's happening is this is starting to eat into the economy, starting to slow the economy. And we're also starting to see there's a problem with air traffic control. So it's starting to slow down our nation's travel.
But Secretary Bessent, I should add that the president's party, your party, controls the White House and both chambers of Congress. You don't think you bear any responsibility for this?
Margaret, what can we do? What can we do for this desperate act that we can call on them to change their minds? Because I can tell you, the 1.5 trillion in spending that they're calling for, that's not on the table. We inherited a mess. We inherited the worst budget deficit to GDP when we weren't in a recession and we weren't at war. It was 6.4, 6.5%. We've managed to bring that down to 5.9%, and we're not going to let them be irresponsible with the budget again.
So, and the only thing I would have said differently than he did is that we voted to open the government. I would say Republicans voted to open the government, and some Democrats. It was 30 or 40 Democrats in the House that voted with the Republicans, and there are 3 Democrats in the Senate that voted with the Republicans. So there's enough votes to open the government. We got a question. SNAP is a little bit different than WIC. Didn't Georgia cut out SNAP here recently? They're actually basically the same program, but Georgia didn't cut it out. They announced that if there's not a change in funding on November 1st, there will not be SNAP benefits available. SNAP is more the state program, but it all comes under the umbrella of WIC, as I understand it. And if I'm wrong about that, please call in and correct me. But I think that the president will move some more money around. He's going to come back from this Asian trip with a lot of deals, not only from Japan, South Korea, possibly North Korea, possibly China, and he comes back with more tariff money. I think he's going to put another $200 billion into this program to save it for another month because he don't want to see people suffer either.
No, I agree. But I have back to a question about the shutdown. As as people call it, the Schumer shutdown.
The Schumer shutdown.
So my question to you is, if Schumer crosses the line, they're going to primary him or get rid of him. So what does he do?
Well, he ought to retire is what he ought to do. He's been in Congress for Congress or the Senate for 44 years, okay? He ought to decide to retire, and then this be his swan song to straighten this out and go out on a high note.
I agree.
But he's not going to do that. I used to think he had one more win in him, but I don't know. And you know what? I think New York may be a state that goes completely progressive. And it's going to be sad, but it's been there before. If you go back and look in the days of LaGuardia and the days which was a mayor back during the Teapot Dome scandal and all that kind of stuff, there's always been corruption in government. And the closer you are to the money, the more corrupt it is. So, municipal elections are always corrupt. Okay, that's just the way they are because you're closer to the money. But I think that he thinks he's got to stick it out. And unless there's something done, I think what's ultimately got to happen is we got to convince one by one these senators that are in these states that Trump won to flip their vote. They've got to go against the caucus. I wrote about this last year in a column that's on Access WDUN. It's also on my Substack at Martha Zoller. Caucus over constituents. If these senators were voting for their constituents, they would have voted for the government to open up. If they are voting for their caucus, they're going to stay the way they are.
I think they're going to vote for their caucus, and I think New York is not, the senators are not going to flip, and I think it's really sad. And then Hakeem Jeffries throwing his support to Mamdani, oh my gosh, that is frightening.
They feel like they have to.
Well, it's
like a hostage situation. I hate to say it.
Right.
But you got Kathy Hochul, who's doing that. He's sitting there saying, and it was revealed yesterday, so Mamdani gets on TV tearfully saying that his aunt couldn't ride the subway after 9/11 because of Islamophobia. And it's not, Islamophobia is not the right term for that, but that's the term he used. And he didn't mention the people that died in 9/11.
Correct.
Didn't do any of that. Well, did a little digging, and a community note came up. His only living aunt at the time was still living in Uganda and was not a type of Muslim that wore a hijab. Okay, so the story, he just made it up. He just made it up. Everybody believes him because you can't question a progressive. If you question a progressive, then you're called an Islamophobe, a racist, a this, a that.
Well, I think Mamdani is very dangerous because he's so charismatic and such a liar.
He is very charismatic.
So you have a charismatic liar.
And he's never had a job. And look, I know that the Constitution says that only presidents have to be born in the United States in order to be in the office. So you have to be a natural-born citizen to be president of the United States. Every other elected official in America, you can be a naturalized citizen. Okay, that's allowed. But he has only been naturalized since 2018. And he has never had a real job. He was a rapper, and then he was a city council member. And the question I want to ask New Yorkers, and I'm asking my friends that live up there, and nobody I know is supporting him, but and they're Democrats, the people I know that are in New York, but nobody I know are supporting him. But you got to ask him, yeah, he's talking about all this free stuff, but does he actually know how to run a multi-billion-dollar organization with thousands of employees? That's a lot of work.
I'm going to go back to Mandani. I think he's a natural-born liar. That's number one. And number two, yes, there are some New Yorkers that do support him. Unfortunately, one of my daughters is one of those. Fortunately, she's hopefully not listening right now. But she's
going to vote for him?
One daughter is, one of the four that are, son-in-laws. And she likes him. I don't know what ultimately would happen. And I asked her why, and she said, well, you know how difficult it is to get on a bus and pay and get your wallet out? It's free. And I said to her, you're going to be paying, and there's going to be crime. So she is considering. Now, my son-in-law is going like Cuomo.
But I think if it's free, the thing about, nothing's so expensive unless you think it's for free. If the buses are free, then what's going to happen is homeless people are just going to get on the buses and ride all day long.
They already do.
Well,
it's scary. It's scary. And she's smart. So I don't know what to say.
It's liberal women. I hate to say this, folks. Okay? Old white Democrat women are the meanest people on the face of the earth. Okay? And all you got to do is look at these protests and see who's showing up to this. Now, I know your daughter's not old, but she's thinking, oh, how difficult this is. It's going to be a lot more difficult, But, hey, they may have to learn their lesson.
And talking about the protesters, I was listening to people going over to them. Some of them don't even know why they're protesting.
No, they don't.
And that's scary. Not to mention the fact that a lot of them are a little weight challenged.
Well, and my thing is that I'm a work from the inside kind of person. If I don't like something that's going on, I'm going to figure out a way to volunteer, to help within the system to try to make it work better. That's just me. Right. That's who I am. I don't like to ruffle feathers. I believe in the system that we have. I believe in the process that we have. Is it perfect? No. But you can change from the inside. Protests, they all are wanting this last gasp of being like, the 60s. And they feel like that those protests really changed things. And maybe they did to some degree, but it was more really what changed things and brought along the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act was the assassination of first President Kennedy and then Martin Luther King Jr. Now, granted, those two bills were passed in between those two dates, but it was what solidified it, the assassination. Unfortunately, it's those kinds of things that kind of galvanize people and change their minds, but we don't want that. And I don't mind protesting. I love protesting. Right. I think if you're out there, we have them out there every weekend. It's great. But I think we need to work on things, and you need to at least know what you're protesting about.
And I think it needs to be peaceful. I was up in Highlands this weekend. And
did they have protests in Highlands?
Let me tell you, that was about 200 people. And on the corner, anti-Trump saying terrible things about Charlie Kirk. So what did I do? I said to my husband, stop the car. I'm going out there. And he said, I can't protect you. So I did the only thing I could do. When we drove by, I opened the window and I was shouting things about pro-Trump and I am Charlie Kirk. And I got booed by 200 people.
I got to tell you, but in Highlands, a very wealthy community.
But those are the liberals.
Yes, very wealthy community. I think the thing is, so the teacher last week that imitated assassinating Charlie Kirk, she has been fired.
Awful.
Okay,
yay.
But also over the weekend at my beloved University of Georgia, at a club overnight on Friday night. Some stupid guy comes out dressed in a Nazi uniform, a 23-year-old guy. I don't know if he was a student or not, but he's been arrested. And I say hooray to that, too, because there are certain boundaries that you should have. And imitating someone's death is one you shouldn't cross, and dressing up like a Nazi and going around people is another one you shouldn't do.
I thought that teacher was initially supported by the principal. Maybe he changed his mind. I don't know. The teacher imitating the horrible death of Charlie Kirk.
No, I think she's been fired.
That's great
she's
news.
Been fired.
That is great news.
We're going to take a break.
Todd Starnes.
But if you want to talk about problems, talk about Joe Biden, who literally funded Iran's nuclear program.
It's the Todd Starnes Show, weekdays noon till 3 on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Hey folks, Todd Starnes here. When it comes to keeping pests out of your home, Mark Turner at Select Pest Control has it figured out. As the name implies, you get to select whether you want their professional team to take care of those pesky pests, or if you'd rather do it yourself, Visit their retail store on Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville. Since 1993, Mark and his great staff have offered professional service, products, and advice to North Georgia. Visit them online at selectpest.net, or better yet, stop by Select Pest Control today and tell them Todd sent you.
Hey, Daddy, what's in a crawl space?
That's a good question, Annie. I'm Cody Lovin with Crawl Space Medic. Musty smells, dampness, and sagging insulation means your crawl space or basement might need some attention. Our team quickly finds and fixes moisture problems, updates moisture barriers, and resolves structural issues, ensuring your home stays dry and comfortable. Don't let your crawl space problems affect your comfort, air quality, or property value. Visit crawlspacemedic.com.
A healthy home starts from the ground up.
I'm willing to wager that when you cook, you don't skimp on quality. At Loretta's Country Kitchen, we don't either. This is Grant Nichols at Loretta's, where we use only the best ingredients, including Springer Mountain chicken tenders, canned sauces, Hormel bacon, and Jimmy Dean sausage. It's also why we make our biscuits from scratch every day. We don't compromise on quality, and neither should you. Enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner with us, and bring your friends. Loretta's Country Kitchen, Monday Mill Road, Oakwood, where it's all good.
Jim Shorkey Gainesville Kia welcomes you to celebrate the grand opening of our new location all month long. Join us for special events every Saturday in October and grand opening offers you can't miss. Bring the family and check out our brand new state-of-the-art dealership and service center. Plus, enjoy food trucks and entertainment for everyone. Visit us today and join the party at 2359 Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville. Your deal, your way. What a great day at Jim Shorkey Gainesville Kia.
This is Governor Brian Kemp. Georgians are used to affordable, reliable energy because of the good work of the Public Service Commission. As your commissioner, Tim Eccles secured a 3-year Georgia Power rate freeze and made sure our state's growth isn't hitting your wallet. Tim's keeping rates down and money in your pocket and standing against the Democrats who want hardworking Georgians to pay over $800 more per year. Keep Tim Eccles in the fight by voting early or on Election Day, November the 4th.
Georgians First Leadership Committee paid for this ad.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, one person from Cleveland is confirmed dead from a weekend crash in Habersham County on Georgia 105. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical, from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
So we're back on the Martha Zoller Show. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. You can also text us there on the talk and text line for M&R Rental. And Joni Alpert's here with me today.
Hi, Martha.
And the president is in Malaysia, and he had this to say.
I won't forget that day because it was one of the first wars that I got involved in. And I love doing it. It's like, I shouldn't say it's a hobby because it's so much more serious than a hobby, but it's something that I'm good at, and it's something I love to do. The United Nations should be doing this, but they don't do it. You know, they don't do it. They turned off my teleprompter when I made a speech. I had to make a speech without a teleprompter. They're good at that. The escalator wasn't working too well. It came to a complete halt.
So it was funny. He has a good sense of humor. And I mean, really, you don't want him to give a speech without a teleprompter because then he riffs for an hour and a half.
I love it when he just talks off the cuff.
Yeah, but he does go too long. Come on, an hour and a half.
He has no filter.
For you, it's great because you love everything about him. But if we're trying to win people over, we're trying to bring people over, and we're on the way there.
Well, honestly, the man was sabotaged, he called him out on it. And
on the teleprompter, not on the
teleprompter.
Escalator.
The escalator, they said, was an accident. Okay, that's fine. The teleprompter.
Well, the press guy was going backwards up the escalator, and he hit the button.
I get that,
yeah.
But how would Biden be with no teleprompter? How would these presidents? Right,
no,
that's correct. So I think he did a great job.
Oh, I think he did too. And look, I think President Trump has done a great job. I don't believe in anybody that I vote for anymore. I've had enough people disappoint me over the years in how they do things because there are some really bad things that he's done.
Yes.
Okay, here's the bottom line. I shouldn't say forgive him because that's too strong. I will never completely forgive him for telling Georgia voters not to go out to vote. The reason why we have 2 Democratic senators is because his feelings were hurt about losing the election, and he came here in 2 rallies and said, you can vote, but your vote may not count. That I can't get over.
That was
okay?
atrocious. That was atrocious, and sometimes he could be very juvenile.
Yes, that's true. But he seems to be good in a room with leaders,
yes.
And he does a good job there. And I think that's important that we have that. It's important that we have a president that can show American strength. So I'm reading Brett Baer's book right now about Teddy Roosevelt, because we're going to have him on after I get back from Israel. I'm going to Israel next week, and we're going to have Brett Baer on the following week. And Teddy Roosevelt was a lot like that too, but Teddy Roosevelt ironically started the regular press conference by United States presidents. And prior to that, they didn't do that. And so I did a paper while I went back to school. I went back to school in 2016 and got my master's degree in American politics. And I wrote a paper about communication styles of presidents from Teddy Roosevelt to Donald Trump. And it's very interesting when you compare them because they're very similar. But everything about Trump is categorized and out there. It's like these young people that we have shadowing with us today. Every moment of their life is going to be discoverable by other people. I remember calling my son back in 2004 when he got out of college and saying, you need to get the drunk pictures off of your Facebook, because employers are going to use that. Because in the beginning of Facebook, young people used it, maybe it was 2006, young people use it, and they were posting all these funny pictures of them doing crazy things. And I said, pretty soon that's how people are going to look at you for a job. You need to get those pictures off. What we didn't know is they never go away. So kids today that are growing up in the social media world, or their parents documenting everything, that's why, honestly, I didn't close my Instagram account. I do not post anymore except for work, because my daughter-in-laws didn't want me posting pictures of their kids. So I'm trying to honor them.
So that's why we have parties at Harbor Point. We have to give our phones in before we walk into the parties.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I feel sorry for these folks that have every minute of their life can be discoverable. And now you have the added problem of, is it real or not? We'll be back.
This fall, give your lawn and food plots the winning edge with Limelight Pro. Now at Farmers Exchange in Cleveland. Limelight Pro is a premium, fast-acting pelletized lime that helps balance soil pH, unlock nutrients, and boost plant growth. Easy to spread, quick to work, and perfect for a fall application. Whether growing grass, gardens, or game plots, get the results you want with Limelight Pro. Farmers Exchange, your hometown partner for a stronger, greener season.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication on your accounts, report phishing, and update your software on all your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. So stay smart, stay safe, and stay protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK. Terms do apply.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10 o'clock.
Closing in on a deal with China. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Stocks are higher to start the morning on Wall Street after President Trump says it's likely a trade deal will be finalized this week. He meets with China's President Xi in South Korea Thursday.
We're going to have a great talk. I have a lot of respect for President Xi. I like him a lot. He likes me a lot, I believe, and respects me, and I think he respects our country a lot. and I think we're going to have a successful transaction for both countries.
The president there with reporters on Air Force One on the flight to Japan from Malaysia, where this Asia trip started. He meets tomorrow with Japan's new prime minister, Sanae Takaichi. He spoke with Emperor Naruhito after landing in Tokyo today. Hurricane Melissa is about 135 miles from Jamaica and could be the strongest on record to ever make landfall there, a Category 5.
What are our big concerns? Obviously, when you talk about winds at 160 miles an hour, that's one of the big concerns. We're looking at maybe a wall of water 13 feet hitting this. We're also going to be seeing maybe rainfall totals getting up into the 30 to 40-inch range.
That's Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz. Federal food assistance could be in jeopardy as the government shutdown drags on.
The Department of Agriculture posting a notice on its website saying federal food aid like SNAP will not go out on November 1st. The USDA will not be tapping roughly $5 billion in contingency funds, saying, quote, bottom line, the well is run dry. About 1 in 8 Americans use SNAP to buy groceries. Congress remains at a standstill on a deal to reopen the government, as Democrats have made healthcare provisions a key sticking point to get their votes on any funding bill. This is the second longest shutdown in U.S. history. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Indiana Governor Mike Braun's called a special legislative session to redraw congressional maps in Republicans' favor. It's part of President Trump's push for new maps ahead of next year's midterm elections. It's not clear, though, if there's enough support from Republican state senators in Indiana for it to happen there. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is working with agencies in Hall County behind a weekend death case. WDUN's Logan Landers explains.
GBI has confirmed with Atlanta media sources that they are assisting in a death investigation, but were unable to give more details. WSB-TV said neighbors confirmed police cars were outside a Couch Road home near Flattery Branch for hours on Sunday, while other sources said a vehicle was blocked off by several area law enforcement vehicles at the Sam's Club parking lot of Oakwood early Sunday afternoon, with no confirmation of any link between the two scenes as of last report.
A crash in Habersham County this past weekend has left a Cleveland man dead, as WDUN's Caleb Hutchins reports.
The wreck happened around 1:15 Saturday afternoon on Cannon Bridge Road at Cap Fry Road, according to authorities. A report from the Georgia State Patrol said 71-year-old Arlen Garrett was headed east on Cannon Bridge and trying to turn left on Cap Fry when his vehicle was rear-ended by a Ford F-150 pickup truck. Garrett was taken to a nearby hospital where he died from his injuries. The crash remains under investigation with no charges formally announced as of Monday morning. The name of the pickup truck driver has not been released.
A highly contagious bird flu that popped up in northwest Georgia is most likely contained, as the Department of Agriculture says the sickness was confirmed at a commercial chicken facility in Gordon County, where 140,000 chickens were being housed. All of them were euthanized. And one Hall County elementary school is helping its students unwind with the help of some therapy dog teams. Friday, students at Everwood Elementary School were visited by Robin Herron and her golden retriever, Reese, to bring smiles to students before the weekend. Herron shared the positive impact she sees the dogs making on the students each time the duo steps inside a classroom.
The dogs are so in tune with how the kids are feeling. A lot of times we'll see kids that you just know they've got something going on that's bothering them, and the dog will kind of go to them and pick them out, and they'll spend a little extra time with them. You just see immediate change in that child.
Herron is one of the 7 trainers who volunteers their time with the school, and the school receives visits from 9 dogs in the rotation. You can find more news online by going to Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN forecast.
Good Monday morning, North Georgia, and it's a soaker. Scattered rain likely, locally heavy at times, and that's really going to slow things down between reducing visibility and obviously road conditions. Low 50s for highs later this afternoon. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
At Sugar Hill, 50 degrees. In Clayton, 46. And in Gainesville, 49. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9. WDUN.
How often have you shaken your head and said it's awful when bad things happen to good people? Well, what can we do to provide good things? Proverbs chapter 12, verse 15 tells us that the way of the fool is right in his own eyes, but he who heeds counsel is wise. Verse 25 reminds us that anxiety in the heart causes depression, but a good word makes it glad. 5 minutes with the news shows us the evil and despair in the world. It's worth the effort to discern the good around us and to thank God for it. Let's leave a generous tip or a kind word today. Let's look back on our prayer time and note the difference our attitude likely made to others and to ourselves. This is Mike Martin of Milton Martin Toyota, hoping that all your days bring blessings.
Talking about the issues that affect you most. It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
Now in the second longest shutdown in U.S. history, when will President Trump meet with Democrats to try to bring this shutdown to a close and get federal workers their paychecks back again, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Chris, I'm going to have to reject the premise of your question. Why does President Trump have to meet with Democrats? Democrats just need to go into the Senate and vote to end the shutdown.
But
Let's look
President
at the
Trump has said in the past 52, it's up to the president.
52,
He's the president.
No.
No, he said that in the past. He said you have to be a leader. The president has to lead. You have to get people into a room. You have to get a deal. When's he going to do that?
Well, he is leading, and there's no deal to do with Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is trading off his polls. What's different than when he passed the clean CR in the spring? It's his polls. You know, the whole country's being held captive to AOC's polls. But let's look at the numbers. It's 52-3. 52 Republicans have voted, I believe it's 11 times, to reopen the government. 3 Democrats have. And right here, right now, I would urge moderate Democratic senators to come across the aisle, reopen the government, because I'll tell you, we're starting to eat into muscle here. This is starting to affect travel. It's starting to affect the economy. And, you know, this is quixotic. I don't know what the purpose is. I'm not sure they do.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. I'm here with Joni Alpert, and we're talking to Mark Vargas right now just to talk about the different things that are happening, not only with the shutdown, but also with the trip to Asia. Mark, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yeah. So first of all, you know, we're running into a problem where this deal was supposed to be a 7-week extension anyway. Are they going to have to redo the CR again and make it a longer time period? Because we're coming up on 4 or 5 weeks of this.
We are. I mean, it's day 27 of the government shutdown, and the Democrats have now voted a total of 12 times to keep this government shutdown. And let's not forget that by the end of the year, in December, they've got to pass budget bills or the government shuts down again right after the holidays. And so this is turning into a real mess. But actually, I'm not sure if you broke this yet on your show, but the largest federal workers union just sent Chuck Schumer a letter demanding that the Democrats work with the Republicans by passing the clean CR. It represents over 1 million workers. It's the American Federation of Government Employees. And because they know the truth, the facts versus fiction. Facts are the Democrats shut down the government because they wanted to provide funding for free health care. That's a fact, no matter how much they try and wordsmith it or manipulate what the bill reads. And we know that they've been planning this for months, going back to late spring, early summer. Democratic leaders have been meeting with far-left progressive groups that support AOC, that receive funding from George Soros. This was their plan all along, to insert as much pain on the American people, on our veterans, on our military, on important programs that Americans need in terms of health care and food and clothing and shelter, so that they can provide free funding for health care. It's remarkable, but at some point here in the very, very near future, the pressure is going to be so tight. The poll numbers are in favor of the Republicans, not for the Democrats. And at some point here, very, very soon, they're going to be forced to the table to negotiate with President Trump and pass a clean CR.
You know, it's so, I'm so glad to hear you say that. We broke a little news here on the Martha Zoller Show that the Government Employees Union, it is over 1 million members. And I think, Mark, if I'm right, it's the largest union, one of the largest unions in the country, which is crazy because the very first article I ever had published back in the 90s was about how FDR would be a Republican today because he was opposed to federal workers organizing because he said that was a conflict of interest to the taxpayer to have unions. And that was at the time when government unions crossed over into being the biggest unions that there were out there. And I think that's ironic that they're the ones saying, hey, they understand how this works. They know what's happening.
They do. You're right. It's the American Federation of Government Employees, over 1 million federal workers in their union, the largest in the country. And the president of that union just sent a letter to President Biden that says, and I quote, "It's time to pass a clean
President Trump.
Resolution."
You said President Biden.
Or President Biden. I'm sorry. The president, slipped. Though the AFGE president just sent a note to Schumer that said it's time to pass a clean continuing resolution and end the shutdown today. No half measures, and no gamesmanship. So the largest union is not messing around in their letter to Chuck Schumer, and that's going to force them to come back to the table with Republican leadership and President Trump.
So the president, of course, is in Asia. The Japanese have elected a very conservative prime minister. He was welcomed by the emperor, which is a very unusual step. He's indicated he may be speaking to Kim Jong-un as well as doing, all the meetings that he's got planned during this, culminating with a face-to-face meeting with Xi Jinping. So it looks like the president's going to come back with a pretty good deal for us. The markets are up. There's some indication that the rare earth mineral ban is going to be lifted, and we'll be lifting some tariffs too. So it looks like it's going to be another good trip.
It is. And I believe, and I don't have any insight on this, but I believe that President Trump may even have a face-to-face with Kim Jong-un during this visit to South Korea. He likes to throw a wrench into things, and he thinks outside the box. I think that might be the biggest story coming out since his last meeting during his first term. But you're right. I mean, President Trump has got the momentum. He's not just the leader of the president of the United States. He's the leader of the free world. He's the leader of the globe. And what he's done with China is remarkable. I mean, they have practically a monopoly on the production and processing of rare earth minerals. These are people don't say these are critical components of electronic devices and defense technologies. He's not messing around. He's got the support of, a widespread support, a chorus of support of leaders throughout the world. He's got the massive and widespread support here in the United States, and we're seeing this happen. Not only brokering peace deals, but he's brokering trade agreements. And what better way to bring peace throughout the world than through how to turn particular regions from a war front to a storefront. It's remarkable what President Trump is doing on the economic side and on the peace side. We haven't seen anything like this in modern history.
So we're talking to Mark Vargas. If people want to follow your work, Mark, what's the best way to do that?
Sure, thank you. On X, at Mark A. Vargas. You can follow me on Newsmax, my column, Potomac Perspective, and Illinois Review, the largest conservative news publication in Illinois.
All right. Mark Vargas, thank you for being with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, that's huge news, Joni, that the big government union has said get to the table and negotiate and vote for the clean CR with no gamesmanship. I mean, that's a huge, huge breaking news.
How many people are there in that union?
Over 1 million.
Here's the question I have. As we're in Georgia, where I sit, and we're both going to be affected by the shutdown possibly, what can we do? Obviously, we're not in New York, but is there anything we can do?
Well, I think you call your senators. You call the Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock's office. They did vote to invoke cloture on Friday on the paying of the employees, not on the clean CR. So they are moving a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So we got to call them. And call their Atlanta office. Now, I got Joe in Claremont said that he called and had to leave a message. Because here's the interesting thing. Andrew Clyde has figured out a way to keep his office open. Real people are still answering his phones. Okay? A lot of these Democrats are trying to show that they're not, that they're tough or whatever, and they're not having anybody pick up their phones because there's a shutdown. But there's also, I had to go through getting a passport for my father-in-law last week. All of that stuff was open last week and is open today. So there is a way to keep things open if you can. And look, folks, come to the table. Be a real negotiator. I know that's asking a lot of these folks because they see their party getting smaller and smaller and smaller, the Democrat Party. And if we get another election cycle where Democrats that weren't voting Republican are voting Republican, then that's what it takes. It takes 2 election cycles before it becomes a habit for you to vote a certain way. And it's hard to get them back. We've got some opportunities here. And Mark was right. We've got a whole nother budget we got to deal with for next year. And we got to get back on the right track as far as getting the budget passed.
So you're saying that if we try to pressure Ossoff and Warnock, they're going to pressure Schumer? I don't understand.
No, they'll change their vote. They might change their vote. They should listen to their constituents. They should.
But they're
not. If not. Well, they're not. Well, there's been some movement.
Yes,
they voted on Friday.
True.
So if you keep the pressure up, then they will eventually listen to their voters over Schumer, and they'll have to go to him and say, look, I'm getting too much pushback. And I understand from my contacts that this strategy is working, that these senators are getting a ton of phone calls about changing their vote, these Democratic senators. So, and not very many, the Republicans aren't getting very many calls from their states saying we don't, we want a government. Nobody is saying we want a government shutdown. And that's the side the Democrats are on. And look, if you just look at history, you keep the government going and then you negotiate. That's how you do it, folks. And look, I don't like any of this. I'm fine with the government shutdown if you want to know the truth, because then you get to see what's really necessary in the government and what isn't. But I understand why people are feeling uncomfortable about it because, they're living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Very, very scary. And
yeah.
Unfortunately, I hear you, but I think it's going to take a while because of Schumer. And because Schumer is being puppeted by AOC and Bernie. And it's very scary to see.
Well, and it's very funny, too, because AOC, they keep complaining about the House, and the House did their job. They voted to keep the government open. Okay, so they don't need to do any more. I don't know why I don't know why anybody's even talking to Hakeem Jeffries, because they have already taken the vote in the House. He's done. He lost. Okay, all they should be focusing everything on is Chuck Schumer, but not even him, the Democratic members of the Senate that are from states that Trump won. Those are the people that you need to be focusing on. Those 7 swing states, if they've got a Democrat senator in that state, then they should be focusing on that. We'll be back.
When it comes to where you get your news, what's important to you?
I want to hear news that doesn't take sides.
I want to hear clear reporting that's easy to understand.
Always here with the news you need. AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Waste Eliminator is a full-service waste management company providing critical disposal, recycling, and environmental solutions for business and residential clients. From large-scale commercial projects to smaller residential cleanups, Waste Eliminator offers reliable dumpster rental service tailored to your needs. Whether you're tackling a renovation, new construction, or even a simple home cleanout, Waste Eliminator will manage the waste efficiently and sustainably. Visit online at wasteeliminator.com.
It's time to turn work into fun with Exmark mowers this fall from Howard Brothers. Exmarks are built for speed, precision, and durability, making every cut cleaner, every job faster while having fun doing it. Whether you're mowing lawns or cleaning up leaves, homeowner or pro, Exmark helps you stay ahead of the work, giving you more time to enjoy the cooler season. So gear up and save time with the mowers the pros trust. Find your Exmark at Howard Brothers today. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Exmark and Howard Brothers.
Fall is a busy time of year, but don't let the fun of football and fall festivals keep you from taking care of your health insurance. This is Chelsea Hogan. At the CHI Agency, Laura Chastain and I are ready to help you navigate individual health insurance enrollment. It runs November 1st through December 15th. Make your appointment with us today to make sure you get the policy right for you. To find out more and set up your appointment, visit thechiagency.com or come see us behind Burger King in Cleveland or in the Rubicon Building in Gainesville.
For the Norton Agency, selling real estate is personal. Our family name and reputation stand behind every sign, every business card, every associate, and every sale. With the ever-changing real estate practice, we hold strong ideals and professionally train and support our real estate advocates through every segment of the complicated process. I'm Frank Norton, and you can count on me. Norton, now more than ever. Call us at 770-532-0022 or look for us on the web at gonorton.com. Our family serving North Georgia for 4 generations.
You wouldn't want someone you couldn't trust working on your family's HVAC and plumbing, so why would you call anyone but Gainesville Mechanical? They're your local, most trusted and award-winning HVAC and plumbing company in North Georgia. From maintenance appointments and clogged drains to plumbing emergencies and new system installations, their team is ready to serve you. And with their customer assurance maintenance plan, you can receive discounts, priority scheduling, and 24/7 no overtime rates. Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes since 1989.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, a Gwinnett County firefighter is injured while a building in Beaufort is destroyed by fire early Saturday evening. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN talk and text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Do you think you'll sit down with Hakeem Jeffries and...
I would. I'd be willing to. I would have now, too. I left. I said, come on over, just put the government back. All they have to do is say yes, and it's over. And we start. And then we go into a negotiation. Look, Obamacare has been terrible. We can make it better. I'm all for that. But they're not. And they want to allow many, many illegal people that came into our country illegally from prisons, from mental institutions, from all over the world. They want them to get paid, and that's going to hurt the citizens of our country, and I just can't do it.
So that's Donald Trump on the flight over to Asia, and, the man never sleeps, and so he's always going back there doing press things, and it's all great. But he's making the point, hey, I'll negotiate, he'll negotiate, but you got to open the government back up. And the longer it stays closed, the harder it's going to be to open back up. There's going to be more stuff to unwind. My son works for USDA, and he's still able to go in a couple of days a week because they have animals in their control, so they have to take care of the animals. But it was funny. I took my grandson on a tour with the vet. And he goes, yeah, my dad picked me up from school today because of the government shutdown. I said, well, maybe that's a good thing about the government shutdown. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you get to spend more time with your dad.
Ah, that's sweet.
So he goes, oh, I hadn't thought about that. So I took him for a tour of the vet school at UGA, and it was great. Lisa Nolan was fantastic. She's the dean, and it was great to be a part of that. And I hate it when things happen like this stupid kid that dressed up in a SS uniform and walks around downtown on Friday night at 2:30 in the morning. You add alcohol to a stupid behavior like that. And he got arrested, and I think he should have. There are lines you don't cross over. And dressing up like a Nazi soldier and walking around, Prince Harry did it and got in a lot of trouble. You ought to get in trouble for doing that, and I'm glad he's in jail.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's inciting people. And we got to stop doing this, folks. Kamala Harris hasn't learned a single thing. She's going around in all these interviews, doubling down on the fascist comment, which, people look these words up. Islamophobia, fascism, illegal immigrant, whatever the word is, look it up before you use it. Be sure you know what it means, because people are just spitting words out, fascist, Nazi, this and that. There is nobody in this country that's an elected official, even the ones I don't like, that are Nazis.
I agree.
Okay? There are nobody that are Nazis.
I agree. But I love when Harris talks. I think, again, it's like AOC, let her talk more. And her book, 107 Days, it's hilarious. It frightens me to even think that she could have been, well, she couldn't have been, but if she was president. I love her book tour.
It's so interesting because her book is not selling well. AOC's Bernie's book is not selling well. And there's another, maybe Elizabeth Warren's book is not selling well. And so they're not able to sell books. They were able to get 13,000 people to show up at a rally for Mondani, but I don't know if those are New York people or not. You don't know.
And what about the brilliance of KJP? I mean, we must not forget.
Oh, her book's not doing well either.
We must not forget her brilliance. And now she's telling us we're crazy. She said that Joe Biden did far more interviews than Trump has done in his life, that Biden was totally with it and did more pressers, blah, blah, blah. I mean, she is trying to make it seem like we're the crazy ones.
Yeah, and she's no longer a Democrat. She's an independent because
Correct.
She doesn't like how this thing was done. And I just want to remind folks, too, that they're calling us fascists. They're calling us all these names. For the last 3 elections, they have not allowed the person that the people voted for in the primaries to be the nominee. Okay? In 2016, Bernie should have been the nominee. But they got the superdelegates in there, and they went for Hillary Clinton. In 2020, Biden did end up getting the votes, but they orchestrated that with the South Carolina primary to turn his campaign around because it was on life support. And then the people of the Democratic Party got behind it. And then this one didn't even have, they had primaries. The people voted for Joe Biden, and then they got Kamala Harris in there. So they are the ones that are not following their own rules for democracy. It's not us.
I understand that, but when I'm watching them on television, all I could think about is please, and I pray for everyone's safety, because the vitriol that is coming out of their mouths with the Nazi, the fascist, the king, whatever, I don't want them to go do something terrible.
Well, and I know a lot of you like to listen to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and Tucker, he just likes to ask leading questions, and I'm fine with him if you want to watch him. Candace, on last Friday, tried to say that Erica Kirk and Donald Trump were in it to kill Charlie, and she has the proof for it. Now, I don't understand what she's trying to say, and she's very compelling, and people listen to her, and I've even had people come up to me and ask me about things that she said. Folks, we've got to clamp down on our own side when they get off the rails, and then we've got to clamp down on the other side when they get off the rails, too. We'll be back.
Whether it's a slip that ends in a slip disc, a trick knee that's holding you back, or shoulder pain hurting your game, you can count on Northside Hospital Orthopedics. With leading care in Georgia at convenient locations all across the state, we're here to get you back on your feet, no matter what comes your way. Because Georgia moves us, and we keep Georgia moving. Find a provider near you at northside.com/ortho. That's northside.com/ORTHO.
This month, Pure Talk is supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat vets struggling with PTSD. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. Sure, I like the unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and you will too. But you will love being in business with a company that shares your values. Dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe nasal spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it. Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Want the latest rumor? Check social media.
Social media plays a big role in today's society.
Want to know if it's true? Log on to accesswdun.com. We focus on the facts and leave the fiction to the others.
It's trustworthy and reliable.
Online news powered by North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10:30.
Fox News, I'm CJ Papa. President Trump meets with Japan's emperor after arriving in Tokyo Monday night, the second leg of his Asian trip. But the main event later this week in South Korea, where he meets the Chinese president.
A substantial framework for a U.S. and China deal is now in place, according to the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who is traveling with the president. The next step in the TikTok sale is also on the table as China prepares to sell TikTok's parent company to a group of American buyers once and for all.
Fox's Peter Ducey in Tokyo, Jamaica in the path of the monster Melissa, Category 5 hurricane. Fox Weather's Britta Merwin.
Big concern here is the movement of this storm. It's crawling at 3 miles per hour, which just means that we're going to have a long duration exposure to all of these threats and all of these elements.
160 mile per winds and potential for 30 inches of rain. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and the GBI is working with agencies in Hall County behind a weekend death case. WDUN's Logan Landers reports.
GBI has confirmed with Atlanta media sources that they are assisting in a death investigation, but were unable to give more details. WSB-TV said neighbors confirmed police cars were outside a Couch Road home near Flattery Branch for hours on Sunday.
A man who was involved in a deadly racing crash in Gwinnett County is heading to prison. Emmanuel Esfahani had entered a guilty plea last week to vehicular homicide in a wreck that killed 5 teens on Labor Day in 2023. The judge sentenced Esfahani to 16 years in prison. Everwood Elementary School's first year is well underway, and its students are adjusting to the new building with the help of some four-legged friends. Everwood search teacher Dana Patterson created a partnership between the school and therapy dog teams to help the students relax throughout the week. She says the benefits go beyond the smiles in the classroom.
Studies have shown that being around dogs increases the dopamine in our brain and makes us happy. And happy kids do better at school. They perform better on tests. They do their work better.
Patterson says the school partners with 7 trainers and 9 dogs total to bring the program to students each week. More details at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
It's a soaker. Scattered rain, locally heavy at times, and that's really going to slow things down between reducing visibility and obviously road conditions. Low 50s for highs later this afternoon. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Brazelton, 50 degrees. In Commerce, 49. And in Gainesville, 49. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Hello, I'm Greg Beatles, president of Your Atlanta Falcons and also proud supporter of Eagle Ranch. My family and the Falcons have been involved with the ranch for many years. Eagle Ranch has expanded its services to meet the increased needs in our community, to include outpatient counseling, a day school program, a residential program, and other therapeutic services that are both affordable and accessible. Learn more at eagleranch.org. That's eagleranch.org.
Fall is planting time in North Georgia. This is Julie from Full Bloom Nursery, and now is the perfect time to plant pansies, perennials, shrubs, and trees. Planting in the fall gives your new plants time to become established without the stress of heat and dry weather. We've got over 4 acres of plants for you to choose from, so come see us for all your fall projects. Our knowledgeable staff will help you pick out the right plant for the right spot. Be sure to like us on Facebook and visit us on the web at fullbloomnursery.com.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
With food stamps, 42 million people come the end of this week are going to lose their food stamps. And as a result, this country is going to see a lot of people who are hungry and angry, and I bet that they're going to be calling their Democrat senators and say, vote to open the government. This politics of pain has to end.
So it is the Martha Zoller Show, and also the largest federal workers union called for this morning an immediate end to the shutdown. Steve Moore's here with me today. Steve, is there an end in sight, you think? Is the dam starting to break?
Hi, Martha. Well, I guess I'm about the worst person to ask that question because I didn't think this would last more than 3 or 4 days, and now it's almost a month now, right?
Right.
I'm kind of losing track of the time, but it's important that Republicans don't cave in here to the Democrats' demand for $1.5 trillion extra spending. I mean, our country is going bankrupt. We're going over a financial cliff if we continue to spend at the pace we're on. And by the way, that $1.5 trillion is 2% reduction over 10 years. And it's not even a reduction. It's a reduction on the increase that they want.
Right.
So I don't get it. I mean, why are the Democrats holding our military hostage? Why are they holding our soldiers' pay hostage? Why are they, we live in Washington, D.C. We're in the swamp. All the parks are closed. The Smithsonian is closed. They don't even let you go in the they've basically blocked the parking lots to the national parks and so on. It's just ridiculous. And the other thing is, I travel a lot, and a lot of flights are delayed. It's causing a lot of havoc at the airport. So this is the Democrats are trying to inflict pain on the economy, on the American people, to score political points.
Yeah, I find it extremely frustrating because they know that they are going to have to vote to open the government up. And what I've been telling people to do is in Georgia, call my 2 senators, and they actually did vote to invoke cloture on Friday on that pay bill that came up, but they did not vote for the ultimate bill. But they voted to invoke cloture. But so we're making some progress there, but I've also been giving my listeners the list of all the senators that are in states that Trump won and saying you need to get your friends and neighbors that live in those states to call them too, because that's the way we're going to change the mind. I don't think it's going to be Schumer. I think it's going to be his rank and file members are going to break from him.
I think that, I hope that you're right because you have three Democratic senators so far have. By the way, just so people understand, because a lot of people don't pay that close attention to how this works, and you may think, well, gee, the Republicans run the House and the Senate and the White House, so why isn't this a Republican, problem? And the answer to that is because it takes 60 votes, as you know, to pass anything out of the Senate, and the Republicans have 53. So that means they need 7. If my math is right, they need 7 Democrats, and right now they've only got 3 or maybe 4.
They also they're at 55 because they got 52 Republicans and 3 Democrats that are voting.
So they're at 55.
Rand Paul has been voting no every time, but they think that if it gets to 59, that he'll come over and be the 60th vote and save the day or whatever.
And by the way, just so people understand, Rand Paul is voting no against this because he thinks the spending cuts are way too small.
Yes,
and I agree with them.
Yes.
I mean, these are teeny weeny little cuts. If we can't do this, if we can't even cut 2%, 2 cents out of every dollar increase in the spending, we're doomed.
Yes. I mean, we got a lot of work we got to do. I think what's interesting is the president really has tried to make this hurt as little as possible. Like he moved tariff money over for, the WIC and SNAP payments. He moved, other money around. So he is trying to do this in the easiest way possible, but they've got to come to the table. And Schumer's just so terrified of his left that he doesn't know what to do. And these aren't people that are actually in the Senate that he's worried about. It's the people that are in the polling places that he's worried about.
Well, the Democrats, I said this on your show 3 months ago, that the Democrats wanted this shutdown. They were begging for a shutdown, and that's what they voted for because, again, they think they can blame the Republicans. And, the media is always very compliant in that. It's always have you noticed it's always the Republicans' fault? And so, but I think they've overplayed their hand. I think people are kind of sick of this.
Get back to... And Henry Enton, the pollster at CNN, said that actually Trump is doing better than his last shutdown, I mean, people were way against it, blaming him. They're not blaming him this time. And the House did their job. They passed it. There are enough votes to pass it in the Senate. You just got to get through cloture.
And by the way, the one thing about Trump is that everything he is doing exactly what he said he would do. In other words, some of my liberal friends, why is Trump doing this, that? Because he said he was going to do it.
Right.
The American people knew what they were getting. It's not like he's come in with a bunch of fake promises and done the opposite. He's done exactly everything that he said he would do. And so if you don't like it, you should have voted for somebody else. But the American people are generally in favor of the direction that Trump is taking. I'm very in favor. I mean, we're producing more oil and gas than ever before. I think the last time I was on your show, you were saying you're paying less than $3 a gallon there in Georgia. Which is amazing. We're seeing the inflation rate's down to 3%. It's still a little too high, but 3% is a big improvement over 6, 7, 8, 9% we saw under Biden.
Yeah.
We have the peace deals. We have the hostages freed. I mean, just one thing after another after another. Trump is on a roll right now.
Yeah, and I'm optimistic, but I'm with you. This lasted a lot longer than I thought it would. Steve Moore, thank you so much for being with us today.
Okay, Martha, have a great week.
Thank you. We got a bunch of text messages that came in. It said, on Fox this morning, they were on the street in New York City and people were afraid to say who they were voting for. They looked so scared.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not surprised. They're going to be shunned by their friends, their workers. Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. And Rhett asked ChatGPT about WIC and SNAP. SNAP is paid for by the government federal, but administered by the state. But the money comes from the Federal Department of Agriculture, which is under the budget, and if that's turned off, I'm not sure if they're going to put money back in. I hope Trump does. Trump has already put money in for it to go on because the shutdown started on October 1st, so he put money in for the month of October. I hope he'll put more money in.
I have a very difficult political question for you, Martha. Do the senators get paid during the shutdown?
They do, and they should not. Okay, so we played some audio from Bernie Sanders last week where he was asked on The View, somebody that was, and this is why I think the dam is cracking, on The View, the person that was sitting in for Joy Behar said to him, why are you taking your check?
Absolutely.
And he goes, well, there's some younger members with kids that can't afford to do without their check. And
what a bunch of boop.
But she said, and she says to him, they've got to do, there's people over here that can't afford it either. Okay. And so he says, well, that's a fair point. So there's starting to be a crack.
It's
There's
terrible.
starting to be a crack. Todd said, federal workers are not working without pay. They'll eventually get the delayed check. I feel for those that truly need the welfare, but the subsidized food program appears to be massively flawed with the products approved to obtain the ease to turn it into cash. I wouldn't be surprised if the administration has a funding plan in place just in case. The typical politicians don't, because they're not problem solvers. Then Susan said, every person on food stamps should be calling their Democrat leaders to tell them to vote to open the government if they want to continue to eat for free. Republicans have voted to open the government. It's the Dems holding it back. And I just want to clarify, SNAP doesn't necessarily allow you to eat for free. You get a subsidy, but as you know, prices have gone up a lot. It's a dollar amount that you get. So they're probably paying out of their own pockets too. So I don't want to be us against them when it comes to things like that. One of the things from the beginning, one of the few social programs that I think is a good one is the aid. It used to be called Aid to Widows and Children. Now it's called Women, Infants, and Children. But I think that is something that we should do, is give help to families that are needing help with food. But they have to show they're trying to get a job. They have to show the kinds of things that we passed in welfare reform.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's fine.
So then Zach said, can you explain your comment about how in the first section about how municipal elections are always corrupt because they're the closest to the money? Also, do you believe our local elections are corrupted? The comment really caught me off guard. Zach, and I mean that the most corruption, I don't believe that our personal, I think the city of Gainesville is not corrupt, okay? And I think that there is enough oversight there. But if you look at the big cities, and I was mainly talking, I should have been clear, with cities like New York and Chicago and Washington, where so much money comes in. And the money comes in down the hall from where the people's offices are. And so that invites corruption when you're close to the money. That's what I meant by that. If you're close to the money, you invite corruption. The federal government, they never actually see the money. And not that there's not corruption there, but it's a different kind of corruption. You get a lot more individual corruption in municipal elections. And I didn't mean to catch you off guard, and I was talking more historically. I think we have a lot of checks and balances in our community, so that kind of thing doesn't happen here. We'll take a break.
Everyone wants to live a rich life, especially in retirement. Join Rich Life advisor Bo Henderson for the Rich Life Retirement Show, where the math shows you the path. Sundays at 12:35 on WDUN.
Have you ever been at your wit's end over conflict? Hi, this is Whit Martin, pastor of Asbury Chapel. You may have heard it said, misery loves company. But what if we were able to leave misery alone and join company that brings joy and peace? I'm talking about company that is family, the family of God. The Bible says in Matthew 5:9, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." God's children make peace by first introducing others to God, the Father of this joyful family called the church, and then by bringing peace to those around them. Just as God made peace with sinners so that they can know and have salvation, so God's children are about the same business. What a world this can be if we will be about the business of making peace. And that is Wit's End. Asbury Chapel invites you to learn more by joining us for worship at 758 Main Street on Sundays at 10 a.m. Visit asburychapel.net for more.
Does your office technology slow your team down? Nothing is more frustrating than printers that jam, copiers that won't connect, and service providers that don't follow through. You and your team deserve technology that works. I'm Matt Nick, president of Duplicating Products, and for over 50 years, we've helped North Georgia offices eliminate bottlenecks, reduce downtime, and get reliable support for office technology. Our promise, we do what we say we will do. If you're tired of office equipment headaches, it's time for a change. Visit us today at duplicatingproducts.com.
This fall, give your lawn and food plots the winning edge with Limelight Pro. Now at Farmers Exchange in Cleveland. Limelight Pro is a premium, fast-acting pelletized lime that helps balance soil pH, unlock nutrients, and boost plant growth. Easy to spread, quick to work, and perfect for a fall application. Whether growing grass, gardens, or game plots, get the results you want with Limelight Pro. Farmers Exchange, your hometown partner for a stronger, greener season.
The weather has changed, and here come the leaves. Get ahead of the work with Stihl's backpack and handheld blowers. They make the fall cleanup quick. If you need a handheld blower with those small spaces, a backpack blower for bigger jobs, or a powerful professional model to really make those leaves fly, Stihl's got it all. Find your next Stihl product at Howard Brothers. Their friendly team can help find the perfect Stihl blower to keep those pesky leaves out of your way. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Stihl and Howard Brothers.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, GBI officials working with law enforcement throughout Hall County on a death investigation case from Sunday. Details at Access WDUN. And coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and I'm here with Joni Alpert. And you know what? When you call your senator's office, you should tell them not to take their paycheck, too. You know, really, they shouldn't have gotten a paycheck for the last 4 weeks if other people aren't.
They shouldn't have gotten their paychecks, and to add pain to suffering, they're talking about they're going on wine tastings in California, and it's $1,000 a night. They're disgusting, and they should not be in office, and we need to get them out.
So to be clear, Joni always likes me to be clear, that was like a DSCC meeting that was out in Napa Valley, and $1,100 a night hotel rooms. That was the first weekend or the second weekend of the thing.
Right, but they're getting paid, and they think it's so funny, and they're laughing. So what job? I mean, they don't have to go to work, and they're getting paid. So really, they have no incentive to do anything.
Yeah, they should stop. If they shut the government down or don't pass a balanced budget on time, they should do without their pay until they do. Now, here are the phone numbers of the local phone numbers for the offices, Senate offices. Senator Warnock's number is 770-694-7828. That's 770-694-7828. And then Senator Ossoff's office is 470-78. Oh, gosh, let me make sure I got it right. 786-7800. That's 470-786-7800. Okay, so I'm going to be sure I wrote it right so I could read it. But you can get those folks and do that. So, look, I think, you know what? I think you're right, Joni. We need to add to what we're asking them to do is that they should not take their pay. And, in fact, they should give their pay back for the last month since they've been closed. Because this is ridiculous. Nothing's changed for them, so why should they do their job? The government workers are saying, hey, this is really the middle of this month or middle of this week will be the first real check that these guys have missed. And so we need to get this fixed in the next couple of days.
I don't. They have no incentive, Martha.
You never know if people are calling and complaining.
They're getting paid. They're not going to work, and they are trying to punish Trump.
They will be voting again at 3:00 today. They're gaveling in at 3:00 today in the United States Senate. Get these calls made this morning, okay, so that you can get them up there.
It's like Scott Bessent said, who I love, by the way. What's the point of ever having more votes or even meeting? They're going to say no.
Well, you got to keep holding their feet to the fire. Okay, so last week we played you that wonderful Philadelphia Eagles fan who was just beside himself over, New York Jets fan that was beside himself over how the Jets were doing. Yesterday, it was the Atlanta Falcons. Here it is.
I tried to give myself a few minutes to gather my thoughts on my thought. This is one of the worst losses I've seen in Mercedes-Benz. This team is poorly coached. This team is mismanaged. This team just lost to a 1-6 Dolphins team. We're 3-4. The worst part is I got to go to Berlin.
Look, Mike.
I spent money on this stuff.
Oh, you going this week? Oh,
yeah,
man.
I mean, I got to go to Germany now to watch this crap in person.
I can't wait to listen to y'all tomorrow, man. My new guilty pleasure.
Oh, man. It's so funny. I mean, I can relate, Logan. I have been a long and suffering Falcons fan. My dad had season tickets for the first 20 years of the Falcons, and so we went every week. Fabulous tickets. We had 50-yard line tickets because the prices were really low and nobody wanted to buy them, right? And so we went almost every week, and we lost almost every week. I kept the little scorebook. I don't even know if they do that anymore, but in the program, you used to keep track of what everybody did, and it was so much fun. But I can feel for this guy, Logan. He is just like the Miami Dolphins were 1-6, and we couldn't beat them.
I don't know what it is with the Falcons, but it feels like definitely like the last 5 years that the games that they should win, they always lose, and the games they shouldn't win, they somehow come out and win. Like I said, it's just very frustrating. Like I said, they were 1-6 coming into this game. There was talk last week about their quarterback and their coach being on the hot seat, getting fired. They looked like they were MVPs yesterday against Atlanta.
Look at the difference that had the Falcons. I know shoulda, coulda, woulda. And $5 I'll buy you a cup of coffee from Starbucks. But if they had won yesterday, then they'd be 4-4, which is still not great. But at least you still got a chance,
right? Look, we still have plenty of time left in the season, but it's just not encouraging after what I saw yesterday.
Absolutely. And so then we've got all these things going on. Kirby got in the High School Hall of Fame over the weekend because it was an off week for Georgia. Georgia Tech's doing fantastic. I mean, I know, really fantastic. And Georgia's playing really well, too. And so I'm pretty optimistic for how we're going to end up. Georgia teams are going to do really well.
Well, I do love Georgia, and I do love Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
He's excellent, and he deserved the Hall of Fame.
He did for high school for high school football. He played for Bainbridge, which is pretty exciting. All right, let's go and talk to Dave. Is it Dave in Commerce?
We got Danny out in Commerce.
Danny in Commerce. Sorry, Danny, I didn't put my glasses on. There we go.
Oh, hi.
Danny in Commerce.
I was going to make a comment about SNAP. Maybe we should let SNAP expire and everyone reapply with proof of citizenship.
Ooh, interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that, and this idea that the food banks are going to be out and all this kind of stuff, they're just trying to scare people when, Danny, they just need to get back to work. The Senate needs to go in today. They could change this today. Today, they could take the vote, allow cloture. They still don't have to vote for the bill to open the government. They can still go back to their peeps and say, oh, I didn't vote to open the government. I just voted so we could have a vote, and then we'd be out of this mess.
Yep, very true.
Very true. Thank you for your call today. Appreciate it very much. That's what I don't understand, is they give them, a way out. And this isn't just for this vote. This has been since we've had this system of cloture, which is the filibuster. Okay, so at the core of all of this, folks, is that do we blow up the filibuster? The filibuster is what requires 60 votes. It's called cloture to be able to get to any vote. I think we defend the filibuster because then we're no better than the House, where all you got to have is 50% plus one to win anything. The Senate is supposed to be a deliberative body, but they're not deliberating right now. They're in their corners like tribes. They care more about their TV time and their tweets and their retweets and their clicks than they do about getting work done. And we need to change that. And folks, I always thought the best job in the world would be to be a United States Senator, because it's a 6-year term, which means you can actually do what you believe is right and best for your constituents. But what's happened is, since the money, so the money, the crazy money in politics came from 1913 when we started doing direct election of senators. Everybody thinks that sounds great, but prior to that, the state legislature appointed them, okay? And maybe that's corrupt too, but at least you will represent your state in whatever you do, because you're not raising money from California like John Ossoff is. 20% of John Ossoff's money comes from California.
Wow. Why?
Why? Because they want to keep him in. He's the most vulnerable. And he's raised $3 million off of this government shutdown.
Scary.
So does he care more about the caucus, or does he care more about, staying in office? What I will say, though, and he voted right on Friday. Senator Ossoff, I know you have people that listen to this show because I get text messages afterwards. You voted right on Friday. You need to be you tout yourself as this person that can get other Democrats on the board. You send press releases about it all the time. You need to get other Democrats on board to get these swing state Democrats to vote for cloture. They don't have to vote to open the government back up. We got the votes for that. We got to get through cloture.
No, I agree. But yeah. I think the vote today, if I were a betting person, which I'm not, it would be no.
Yeah, I still kind of think that too, but I have a glimmer of hope. Like there's a 5% chance Mamdani isn't going to be elected mayor. There's a glimmer of hope. And folks, get out to vote locally in your early voting. Get out to vote in early voting. If you have friends and neighbors in New York, call your friends and neighbors to get out there. Make sure you're doing your civic duty before you complain. We'll be back. See you in a couple of weeks, Joni.
Have a great trip, Martha.
I will. We'll be back on the Martha Zoller Show. We're always here.